that heat. Look, what I promised y'all was part 2 of my top 5 MCs and what's going on. Also, I gotta make sure you guys see what happened to this beautiful piece of beef that I ended up putting on this grill, man. It's like one of the best meals that I've cooked in a while, man. But yeah, but definitely gonna show y'all exactly what happened, you know, out there on the grill. Then at the same time, I gotta give y'all what I'm gonna do is give y'all the rest of my list. Now hold on, the rest of my list actually is just going to be 4 and 3. I'm gonna save my last 2 for my next part and break it down to a part 3. So if you guys can ride with me, let me know what you guys think about my number 5, number 1, you know what I'm saying, first. And then also, you know, let me know what you guys think about my number 3 and my number 4 today. So I'm gonna give you it all. I'm gonna give you those next, okay? All right, so look, yeah. So of course I got the grill fired up outside. I checked it, made sure everything's rolling and smoking like it's supposed to roll, man. Temps and everything is good on everything. So I'm gonna let that roll and just kind of let that be while I discuss the rest of my list. All right, so look, now here's a disclosure. The rest of my list, everybody else is in or a part of a group. A group meaning that 1 or 2 more MCs, right? So when I had to consider breaking down the individual within the group for me to be able to get my number 4 and my number 3 spots, my number 2 and my number 1 spot, they're all in actual groups. But I had to consider certain criteria for me to be able to say, well, how I'm gonna separate one from the other, right? Okay, so what my criteria was, now they're great. Now all these MCs are great within the groups. They're great. So the groups themselves are great. And now that's going to be a different, you know, segment where I break down the greatest groups of all time. But right now we're talking about individual lyricists that come from the South. So I had to end up breaking down the individuals that was in those groups, and they had to have a certain criteria. And my particular criteria was the fact that even though both of the MCs in the group are both great MCs, I had to say, well, which one of those MCs broke it down and made the best solo album within that group? Now 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, everybody in these groups, they also drop solo projects. So when they drop the solo project is what I'm basing my number 4 and number 5 picks from. It's based on their solo projects. So with that being said, these positions are based on the fact that I thought that their solo albums were more lyrical. More lyrical is the main thing to listen to there. Some of them might have been more popular than my number 5 pick. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all don't agree with my number 5 pick, but hey, if you don't, leave it in the comments. Let me know who's better, okay? Now, so, and this particular pick it was based on the fact that they were the more lyrical out of the group. So, without further ado, quick backdrop of that individual in that group. Now, the group has been around since really a little more before my time, because excuse me, again, I was first put on up north music first. That was my first exposure. So I didn't get on to southern MCs till later. So so these first albums and everything, I actually had to go back and listen to later, you know, the first albums, and then come back and like become a fan of the first album, and then go back, and then like as they're dropping these solo albums, I'm now a fan of the group because I went back and and did the research, right? So these groups been around for a minute, you know what I'm saying? Early hip hop, early southern hip hop days. I would say late 80s, early 90s, you know what I'm saying? So they were making music. They jumped on the scene real big in their particular area. Also, what they talked about was what I call kind of a niche rap. Just like up north had they niche when they talk about the Tim boots and, you know, the snowy days, you know what I'm saying, the cold corners. These guys talked about, you know, the Cadillacs and the pimps and you know, the lifestyle that we experienced as being Southerners. You know, we didn't have, you know, the cocaine corners like that. Or the snow and the Timbs. You know, we had them Cadillacs and, you know, them crank 'em ups from the backyard. You know, feel me? So yeah, so they came from that culture. So for these guys to come from that culture and take it to where they took it, and continue to take it, you know, it's a great deal, you know. So I give all praises to the group as a whole. Now, one of the tragedies that happened with the group was one of the MCs in that group ended up going to jail. So when they went to jail, it left the MC alone in that group. Now, I've watched interviews and everything, like these later interviews, and I've learned that the two in the group, right, of the two, the one that went to jail, that one was actually the one that was more passionate when it came to hip hop and making that group successful. I don't want to say hip hop, so I don't want to disclaim it, but I think it was just more of making that group successful. And again, this is new information that I got from, you know, interviews that I recently seen. But if I'm wrong, man, hit me up, let me know how you really feel. But anyway, so at the same time, that guy that had a little more passion about it, I say, actually went to jail. Now, so that left the partner out there kind of fishing alone. So what happened was that the partner wanted to make sure that the name stood and that people understood, like this, like I know my partner them gone, you know what I'm saying, but I'm gonna make sure that I'm holding it down, that I'm gonna make sure that everybody in the world know our name while my partner gone, you know what I'm saying. So I'm gonna make sure that my first solo album is gonna be like a big deal. I'm gonna blow it up. I'm gonna make it as big as I can because I know you would if you was here. You know, so I respect the love and the passion and the reason for why he did the album the way he did. And I say that it's because if you trying to make a big splash in the industry, right? As an individual, your first time doing this too, right? So I'm gonna look around the industry and I'm gonna see, like, you know, like what kind of help I can get for me to make this to be a big splash like it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And he did. He reached out. He got all the great producers. He got all the great features. You know what I mean? He got some of the best people in the industry to help him. And this album was supposed to represent his effort for making sure that the world understood his effort, and his homeboy that was in the pen, you know what I'm saying, that he understood his effort for his first solo project he put out to the world, not just what they known for, but to the world, that here's what we've been trying to say for a long time, but here's a lot of you people that's not gonna, like, that haven't heard us yet, but or before, you know. Now that you're listening a little bit, let me show you what we can do. So I applaud the MC that I'm about to name, is my number 4 MC, for even coming out with that type of material, and I applaud him. And he's only in number 4 because, again, I felt like it was a big lyrical effort from him, but at the same time, he has a lot of big features, a lot of big names, a lot of big production behind him. This is one of the biggest Southern albums in the, like, I can't really even think of another one that's quite this big, but you know, I will give him the props for putting everybody together on this album. All these producers, all the sound, man, it's so Southern, it's so hip hop, everybody rapping, man. I love the album, but it makes my number 4 spot, man. So without further ado, I do want to let y'all guys know who my number 4 spot is, and it's my top 5 Southern MCs, man. And look, I'm gonna get that too. The great Bun B. Let's clap for Bun. Look, Bun, I appreciate everything that you do for us, man. All the great music that you put out for us, man. Look, that Trio album was your solo project, man. And like I say, I can imagine what it took for that, man. So, look, I'm gonna let y'all check out a little verse or two, you know, from one of the songs. I think it's like one of the best songs on that album to me, lyrically. And then I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna check on these. I mean, I'm gonna make sure that this Filet Mignon is like doing what it's supposed to do. Chicken thighs, I already know they're doing what they're supposed to do, you know what I'm saying? It'll take a little longer anyway, so it's about the positioning on those racks when you're cooking those chicken thighs. So, and I'm really trying to like let it do what it's doing. That's why I can film a show and at the same time cook on the grill.
For my motherfuckers, cooking cheese, some crooked G's, rocking up on the keys to get the hook with ease. Wanna bees, get on your knees, feel the squeeze from them HK13s from here to overseas. We do what we please, don't trip as we flip. Light up a dip, I'm breaking them out from the hip to your lip. Go act that boy skip, that nigga bud rip. With one clip, soon as the gun slip. Now I done whipped out my Pirelli, flying through your belly. And some smelly red jelly is dripping out of your belly. Serve them up like a deli, jumped on my cellular telly. Wholesaling like it's going out of style. You can't see me, Marcus, so have a motherfucking sweet and a smile.
Yeah, man, so I just left from outside. Everything looking good on the grill, man. So I'm gonna let that do what it do, you know what I'm saying? And let it cook, man. Smoking. Hey, I'm drinking. We talking, man. I promise you those things before we started, right? They actually happened. But yeah, man, so